one thing people may be surprised to learn about you.
I've delivered a baby before. I delivered her on the side of the road.
Your next school superintendent delivered a baby. No one ever can say that. I can guarantee this is so unique. No one in the world can say, as state school superintendent, they delivered a baby.
Right. On the side of the road. So, of course, every time I pass that subdivision, I have that memory.
Thank you for your service for delivering babies and teaching our kids.
Yes.
Listen, that is a story unlike any other. You got my vote just from the story alone. Listen.
Take a seat and let's dive into the education unknown. In the superintendent's chair with Dr. Anthony, where dreams unfold. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Superintendent's Chair. I am your host, Dr. Anton Anthony, and our mission is simple: to preserve the stories, leadership lessons, and experience of educational leaders while highlighting the work, vision, and people shaping the future of public education across Georgia. Today's conversation is unique. Just a few months ago, today's guest and I were traveling across Georgia as candidates seeking the Democratic nomination for Georgia State School Superintendent. We shared stages, attended forums, met educators, listened to parents, and presented our individual visions for the future of education in our state. Although we were competing for the same position, we maintained a relationship grounded in professionalism, mutual respect, and shared commitment to Georgia's children. Campaigns eventually end, but the work of serving students continued. Today's guest has dedicated more than 26 years to education and has served students and community through teaching, instructional leadership, school administration, and public service. Throughout her campaign, she has spoken passionately about supporting educators, improving teachers' health benefits, strengthening mental health resources, advancing literacy through science reading, expanding access to pre-kindergarten, and raising expectations for public education across Georgia. She is now our Democratic nominee for Georgia State School Superintendent. So please help me welcome Dr. Lydia Powell to the Superintendent's Chair. Dr. Powell, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you so much just for your time. I tell people your time is valuable. The first thing, though, that I want to say, though, we campaigned together and it was always a camaraderie. And yes. I appreciate you just for your kind heart, your kind words, your love on the campaign trail. So thank you so much for joining us. Walk us through your educational journey and share how those experiences prepared you to seek the office of Georgia State School Superintendent.
All right. So my educational journey, you will not believe it. It began at 16. My first job was a preschool teacher. So most people's first job is working at McDonald's. Not me. I worked at a daycare center after school. Absolutely loved it, but I was exposed to it because my mom was a preschool teacher, so I used to go to school with her. But when I turned 16, I got a job. Me and a couple of my friends, we worked there, and I started my educational journey in the state of Florida, where I taught special education and social studies. So I did like half of the day special ed, half of the day social studies. And then I decided to go back to school for my master's in exceptional student education, because as you know, a lot of times you're hired to work in special ed and you don't have a background in special ed, you're not qualified. And I didn't feel right with a political science education degree and I'm having to write IEPs and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I took a sabbatical from work and went to Florida State to do my master's degree in emotional disturbances and learning disabilities. And part of that, you have to go like to the recruitment fair. That's part of your program. And I happened to be walking down the hall and I met someone. I had on a Delta pin and I met someone from DeKalb County. That was a bruh. And he's like, you got to come visit Georgia. You got to come visit DeKalb County. And so I actually, a month later, I went and visited DeKalb and I came to open Martin Luther King High School in DeKalb County. So I worked in DeKalb as again, special ed and social studies. And then after 6 years there, I decided to go to alternative school. So I went and taught at alternative school for 6 years, which I loved. I was a district diversity trainer there. I taught, I moved out of special ed, so I taught social studies, all subject areas, and worked with the leadership team. Then I moved to Fayette, so I wanted to be closer to home. So I took a job in Clayton at Lovejoy High School. And then from there, I became a assistant principal, which that's what I do now. And so I was assistant principal at Fayette County High School. And now I was at Luella, and now I'm at Hampton High School in Henry County.
As you run for state school superintendent, what did you learn about yourself through this campaign? Mm-hmm. And what message do you hope our conversation sends about putting children above politics?
So one thing I learned about myself is that I'm stronger than I ever thought I was. When I look back at, how we traveled and we both worked full time, and I look back at my calendar, I'm like, well, how was I able to accomplish this? How was I able to get all these places and all that? I know sometimes I was late, but I made it. I was there. And then still show up every day for my teachers and for my students. I'm just blessed to have been able to do that. But I will say, one of the things, especially putting children before politics, is there are faces behind this data. There are faces behind this information. There are faces behind policy and bureaucracy. And so when we are just spitting out these numbers, there are children that are behind that, right? And their legacy, their ability to have a family and be successful and be contributing people in our society. And so I don't take that lightly. And so when we can sit up there and people that are sitting in this office now, and they can look at our milestone scores and look at our poverty rates and all that, and be able to just go to work the next day and take vacations, how can you possibly do that? And so that is my most important thing. Every decision I want to make, every team member I interview to be a part of this next state superintendent team, they need to understand that. They need to know that there's someone behind those numbers.
I appreciate you for the run as well, because you see the kids, they're not numbers anymore. They're names, their faces, because you're in the work every day. And you see that if I make a decision and we're talking about children of poverty, I know I serve kids of poverty. So I'm going to do this for the best interest of them. So that's why I appreciate you, because you know the work, and I know you're going to put children first. So thank you for that. Was there a particular moment on this campaign trail, and you're still on it? I'm off it, baby. I'm good. So, was there a particular moment on the campaign trail that reaffirmed why you first became an educator and why you chose to seek that office of state school superintendent?
Yeah, so being on these different panels, especially during the primaries, and when you have teachers, current teachers, retired teachers that come up to you and said, thank you for running, because you know what you're talking about. And I know you've experienced it too, because we are very like-minded on the campaign trail. And sometimes we would kind of jab each other like, you hear what they're saying? Like, are you kidding me? And so just that has let me know that I'm doing the right work. And a lot of the questions, they're not things I have to go research or Google. Like, it's coming off the top of my head, because again, these experiences are things that I do every day. And I put myself in a position to be in a variety of schools. I haven't just been in rural schools. I haven't just been in high achieving or low achieving or all Black or all white. I have a very diverse background. So I'm able to speak to people and speak to them where they are. I have, that experience in working with special ed students, but even being a parent, having a struggling reader and having a child with dyslexia and having a high achieving student, I'm able to identify with you as a parent, as a community activist, as an educator. So for me, those have been the important moments. And especially retired educators that are like, I wish we had someone to advocate for us, because maybe I would have stayed in this profession a little longer. That makes me feel good. And that just lets me know, all right, I am doing the right work. I did make the right decision, in pursuing this, because this is a lofty, a very expensive pursuit. So those moments, and then the other moments are when I see students that show up at these events, because they could be anywhere else. And for them to actually be at a political event and then wait to talk to you after, and then they ask questions that impact their peers. Most of those kids aren't asking about themselves. They're asking about something that they've seen in school and how me getting this position is going to help one of their friends or, one of their teachers or something like that.
Have you gotten this moment yet when you went to school and you won? Did you feel like a celebrity? Did people want your autograph?
Yeah. Look, yeah. So it was funny because the teachers were kind of in the hall like, okay, Dr. Bell, because I came in a little late that day just because I stayed up all night. And so I came in a little late, and the math teachers were in the hall because my office is on the math hall. And so they were like, Dr. Bell, all of that. But the kids were the funniest. The kids, a couple of them said congratulations, but most of them were like, all right, so what are you going to do about Mr. Such and Such and Dr. Such and Such and the cafeteria? Like, they were like, okay, ma'am, I voted for you. Now I need you to, here, this grade, this, she be tripping. I need you to go talk to her.
Like, wait.
They're
You know what?
Put your money where your mouth
They don't work like that.
Yes. I said, honey, listen, you're going to have to make it through. So you're going to have to be nice to your teacher, advocate for yourself, talk to your teacher. You can CC me on the email, but I can't go in there and tell Miss such and such.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I would have been laughing, right?
They are so funny. They were funny.
If you are elected as Georgia's next state school superintendent, what is your vision for public education, and what would success look like 4 years after you take office?
Okay, so my vision is you have 3 main focuses, which I've kept those 3 main focuses, and of course it's expanding pre-K. So if we are actually able to expand pre-K, then in 4 years from now, we should see those gains for those first graders and second graders and third graders. We shouldn't see low growth. We also shouldn't see these third grade reading scores. Lexile scores should be higher. The second thing is the rural Georgia connectivity. And again, when we look at some of our milestone scores, we compare the metro with some of the rural schools, and there is a difference. So some of those gaps would close. We would have opportunities for summer school opportunities there. We would have more certified teachers. We would be able to track the teachers who we actually help to pay for their certification process, help pay for them to come from the workforce back into the schools to teach our students. And when we look at our CTAE classes, we will have more certified teachers, but also teachers who are second career teachers. So, having a business pathway or a law and safety pathway. Well, the retired police officer or retired accountant actually has something in place where they can come into the school system and use their skills. So you'll see more second career business people in our career tech pathways, because we will have a path to for certification, and we'll also be able to have a salary that's sustainable for people who've been in the business world or been in STEM fields and things of that nature. We would definitely in 4 years to be able to see measurable growth for some of the changes. We would have less standardized testing, because that's one of my other things that I focus on. More students being able to transition from high school to real life, because now I have all the skills from kindergarten all the way to high school, and the skills that are important for me to be work ready, college ready. So and these are all measurable things. And so those are some of the areas that I definitely want to focus on. And of course, I want to work with our legislatures for the QBE to make some adjustments, to make sure we have a poverty rate, make sure the schools are funded based on their needs. And so we should be able to see that in effect in 4 years.
I love when you said summer opportunities for rural counties and rural leaders, because let me tell you, we, as a former rural leader, we didn't have the funds and we didn't have the tax base to be able to pay for summer school for our kids to be able to go and eat and do those things. So if you can work that out for all rural counties throughout Georgia. Now, if you're on the line where you have businesses, and you may not need that, but for those small counties, we need all of those funds as we can. So poverty ranking, please, if I can get you to do one thing for me, you got my vote, but just Go and talk to every legislator and tell them how important it is to have that poverty ranking and to fix, to at least add that to QBE. If they don't even do anything to QBE, at least give us some type of supplement for poverty.
Yeah. And I've been talking to them also already, making phone calls with people who I know have been on that committee before, people who have actually done the research and presented to our legislatures. I've asked them to send me their research. And so I've been looking through that research already so that I am day one ready so I can have these conversations, because we would be in that legislative session. And so we have to make sure we have advocates.
As Georgia prepare to vote this November, what do you hope people understand about who you are as a leader, and why do you believe you're the right person to lead public education in our state?
Because I look all nice and shiny and all of that, that has not always been the case. So I grew up in New York City, right?
Not the Boogie Down Bronx. The Boogie Down Bronx?
Not the Bronx. Queens and Brooklyn, and then Fort Lauderdale. But I grew up in high poverty, and I didn't realize I grew up poor until I took my econ class my senior year, and we looked at the poverty rates, and I looked at those numbers, and I was like, I'm poor. Oh Lord, Mr. Shilly, I'm poor. We are way below the poverty rate. And so I know education was a game changer for me. Education changed my life. Education gave me opportunities. And so that's how I plan to lead. I plan to lead this state knowing that had it not been for quality education, I would not be where I am now. I would not be able to support my kids. And then I've produced 3 other kids that I know are going to be amazing for society. And so when you give those opportunities and you work hard to close those gaps, because you understand firsthand why you are where you are, that is the heart that I plan to lead with. So I know that is why I would be the right person to lead the public education in the state of Georgia. But in addition to that, I have the qualification. I have the background, skill set. And a lot of times people don't really consider what educators have to go through to be educators. Doctors are well respected. Lawyers well respected. Teachers, we go through a degree program. We have to do the student teaching. We have to take a state test. We're under scrutiny for evaluations. And no matter what level you're in, you are evaluated. And then on top of that, we have to do professional learning, and we have to stay up on current trends. And so, but because you went to school, you think you could do this job. No.
Let me add this, because you cooking, girl. You have to be a mama to kids that don't have a mama, a daddy, a counselor, a pastor. You have to be an exorcist, lay hands and get the demons out. You got to be all of that. With the degrees.
With all of the degrees, right. And you're trusted with people's most precious, valuable assets every single day. And so a lot of times we're not given that respect. And you saw that on the campaign trail. Everybody named Mama thought they could do this job. Mm-hmm. And they disparaged us and said things like, you don't need to be an educator to do this job. I want people to take that into consideration. I want people to take my background into consideration. I did not stumble upon this, right? I have a background in political science. I worked hard in my community, worked hard with the party, worked on other people's campaigns. And it's not about party affiliation. It's about who's the right person for this job, who is going to make real change, who speaks to what's happening in your house. And there's some people that vote against their own best interests. If your child is struggling with reading and you've been calling the school, you haven't gotten help, you had a kid on Hope Scholarship, but Hope has been cut. If you're a teacher and you didn't get that $200 gift card that we used to get, or $100 from back in the day, if you're a parent and you didn't get that tax break, the tax-free weekend, these things affect you directly. So don't vote against your best interest just because party lines. This is not political. This is about your kids. This is about your kids having a future. And so I want people to understand that, do the research, look at what we've been doing for the past 12 years. And if it's fine for you, then go ahead, do what you want to do. But I really want people to take some time and do their research and look at people's backgrounds and ask questions. I stay up at night, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, responding to people who email me, because that's important. And also, I believe in everyone having equal access. And when I get some of these emails where kids are telling me how they have vision issues, but they don't have the necessary tools to access the standards or access their assignments because of that. We should not, this is America. We should not have kids that do not have equal access. And it depends on your zip code. If you live in certain parts of Georgia, then you're not going to have the same access other kids have.
Thank you for that. Just what does it mean to you to be an African-American woman seeking one of the highest educational leadership positions in Georgia? And what message would you share with young women and just young people across the state as well as the country?
So this means the world to me. When I was going through school, one of the people who I always looked up to was Mary McLeod Bethune. And I looked at where she started and what she was able to create, even though Bethune-Cookman is number one rival of FAMU. But I looked at where she came from and what she was able to build. And she was truly my inspiration. And she was the reason I wanted to go into education. And for me, it is so important for kids to be able to see someone that looks like them, but not only looks like them, but have the same experiences they have. And when I have kids come in my office and they're like, you don't understand, there is no story that they share when they're sitting on my couch that I have not experienced firsthand. So I'm able to connect with them. And when they see me, they're like, well, if she could become a teacher, and what the things she went through, I could become a teacher. And when we have people that are stepping out on faith and we're going for these higher leadership positions, we are really stepping into a position where we can guide kids without even having a personal conversation with them, just with the way that we walk into spaces, the way we're saying that, we have a place here in the society, and making sure that when we get these positions, we reach down and pull others up. And for me, that is what this means. And this is why it is so important for me to show up every day, even on days that I'm tired. And win or lose, I know I'm putting my best foot forward and I'm being a positive example. And I'm being really transparent about where I come from, because it's important for our kids to be able to connect with that and understand that they're not alone and that they can reach any dream or goal that you have in mind, because I know who put this dream in me, and I know that he is not going to fail me. And so when we teach kids from that perspective, they're able to accomplish anything that they put their mind to. But if they don't see the examples of it, then in their mind, they don't think they can.
Thank you for being the example for our young women and young men to see that whatever that they put their mind to, they could do that. You are the example of that. So thank you for most people never try. They are afraid of failure. I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night if I didn't run.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to live my life with woulda, shoulda, couldas. And if I didn't do it, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. Yeah. And so I thank you for running. And it doesn't matter if win or lose, because you are an inspiration, as is. Even just you winning the Democratic nomination is a testimony that you will have a story for the rest of your life, and your children will be able to know and be appreciative.
Even just not being perfect, you have to keep pushing forward. And one moment in time does not define your future.
Now, Superintendent, this is a part of the show where we ask 5 questions and 5 quick answers. You are now in the chair.
Answer these questions 5 seconds or less. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
One word that describes your leadership.
Resilient.
One quality every superintendent must possess.
Accountability.
One thing people may be surprised to learn about you.
Oh, so I'm not only a teacher, but I have delivered a baby before.
What? Really?
Do you want me to tell you that story? Do we have time?
I would love to hear that story.
All right. So one of the assistant principals, we were coming back from summer break and we were doing our like summer leadership on campus. And so one of my coworkers called me and said, hey, I don't really feel well. Can you pick me up and we ride together to school? So I'm like, fine. She was pregnant at the time. And she said, and do you mind dropping my son off? So I was like, I got you. So I get in the car. I go to pick her up. Her son comes out, and her son and my daughters went to school together. So the son knew me. And so I was like, okay, get in the car. Where's your mom? And he just was like, she's in the house. So I go in the house and I'm like, come on, you're okay. When I looked at her, I'm like, no, you are not okay. She's like, I'm fine. And she comes and gets in the car. But then I start feeling my instincts kick in. I'm like, you are not fine. We're not going to school. I will call the school. I'm taking you to the hospital. So I try to go to Piedmont Fayette. She is having a fit. She wants to go to her doctor, which is in Atlanta. We live in Fayetteville. So because she was so adamant that she needed to go to her doctor, I turn around. And so I'm going, toward Atlanta. I get on Peters Road. And at that point, I can tell we are not going to make it on Peters Road. Just by her demeanor and the fact that I've had 3 children. And I pull the car over right in front of a subdivision, pop my trunk open, pull out my bag with my workout clothes. I tell her, call her doctor. So she's called her husband. She tells her husband she's on her way to Fayette, Piedmont. She's on the phone with her doctor. And then I come around to the other side of the car. She's like, what are you doing? I had sanitizer, my workout clothes. I'm like, I got to deliver this baby. So the phone drops, falls under the seat. I lean her back and I delivered her baby on the side of the road. There are some cars passing by. I waved down a car. Do you know one of the cars I waved down was a plumber, and he had like the big industrial size like paper towels, but they were sanitary. So he pulled out towels. I wrapped the baby in a towel. So at this point, I'm holding the baby. She didn't know what the baby was because she didn't want to know the sex. And she's like, is the baby okay? But the baby is purple, not saying nothing. And I'm like, Lord, so I'm talking to God. I'm like, please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. And something, I heard it as clear as day, pop, smack the baby, so I popped the baby on the butt and everything, pink toes, pink, 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 pink. And then she hollered out crying. And so at that point, another car pulls over and like, are y'all okay? What's going on? And the guy looks at me and goes, Dr. Powell, are you the assistant principal at Fayette County High? And I was like, yeah, and the other assistant principal's in the car, and this is her baby. And he's like, oh my God. So they're calling 911 and trying to get someone there. So yes, I delivered. Sky Blessings Johnson is her name. Yeah, so I delivered her on the side of the road. So of course the paramedics come and all this. They take, her and the baby. So I go to school. No, I went home first because I'm like a mess. So I go home, change, go to school, walk in, and I'm like, you all would not believe what has happened. So I tell my principal, the other assistant principals, and they're like, you lying. You lying. And I said, no, I delivered Brandy's baby. But then it gets worse. I go to take my car to get it cleaned. And so I drop my car off. Another assistant principal picks me up. I go back to get my car. They're waiting for me at the door and they're like, ma'am, we need to talk to you. And I said, no, I swear I didn't murder anybody or anything. I said, I should have told you that, but I was so in shock. I didn't tell them. Because they were like, we
blood and placental juice all over your car.
So they were like, ma'am, come with us. I was like,
This is the best story ever.
Yes. So we were a PBIS school, and so we did tiger tokens. And so the school resource officer actually gave me a plaque and he gave me a golden tiger token for bringing life into the world. Yeah.
Listen, if anybody's watching this, your next school superintendent delivered a baby. No one ever can say that. I can guarantee this is so unique. No one in the world can say a state school superintendent, they delivered a baby.
Right. On the side of the road. So of course, every time I pass that subdivision, I have that memory. But yes.
Oh, my goodness. Now I can truly say Thank you for your service for delivering babies and teaching our kids.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Listen, that is a story unlike any other. You got my vote just from the story alone. Listen, as we approach the election day, this is our last question, but as we approach the election day, what message would you like to leave with Georgia's educators, parents, students, and voters about your vision and the future of public education in our state?
Right. So I want everyone to do their research. Just like I tell my students, don't go based on what someone else is saying. Do your research. Look at, what you envision for your community, because whether you have children or not, having a strong school system has a direct impact on your community. So think about those things. Think about where we are now. Looking at our resources, should we be where we are now? And if you think that we need a change and we deserve a change, then research your candidates and take a moment to research my background, ask questions, because I believe we can do much better than we're doing. We're doing a great job with Hope Scholarship and things of that nature, but that even needs to be reformed back to what it was before. Our kids, when we look at only 35% of our students reading at grade level and, our pass rate for our 8th grade math assessments, I see kids every day and I know they're better than that, but I know that they don't have the resources that they need in order to do the job we're asking them to do. And even for teachers, when you look at teaching back 20 years ago, it's very different now. And we need to ensure that we give the teachers and superintendents the tools that they need, and it comes in funding and the training that they need in order to have successful school systems, because each school system that's successful makes our state successful. And we continue to talk about doing business in Georgia, but when we are recruiting people to do business here and open businesses here, they're bringing families. We need to have a school system that lives up to that as well. And so that is what I want to do for Georgia. So I just ask that you take your time, do your research, and consider voting for Dr. Lydia Powell for State Superintendent of Schools. My website is www.drlydiapowell.com, and I would appreciate your vote and your support.
Well, Dr. Powell, you have my vote. So anybody out there, listen, I need you to vote. When is the date for voting?
November 3rd.
November the 3rd. Please get out and vote. If you vote, I just need you to vote, because that's the most powerful thing. If you are over 18 and you're registered to vote, please don't sit at the house. I just want you to vote. So Dr. Powell, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your perspective and your vision for Georgia's public schools. Our conversation is a reminder that political campaigns may place people on opposite sides of the ballot, but a shared commitment to children can keep us connected long after campaigns end. So I appreciate the respect and professionalism you demonstrated throughout our time on the campaign trail. And I appreciate your willingness to sit down today and allow Georgia to hear directly from you. Thank you for taking a seat in the superintendent's chair. And thank you to everyone watching and listening. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Spotify so you never miss an opportunity to learn from Georgia educational leaders. Leadership isn't about the chair you sit in. It's about the lives you live while you're sitting in it. I'm Dr. Anton Anthony, and we'll see you next time on the Superintendent's Chair.
Take a seat.